Hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I'm Kriti Mishra. You're watching House Highlights, where we take you through the day's proceedings in both houses of Parliament. Let's begin with the headlines. Parliament approves Budget 2022-23, Rajya Sabha returns Appropriation Bill 2022 and Finance Bill 2022 to Lok Sabha after discussion. Lok Sabha discusses the Chartered Accountants, the Cost and Work Accountants and the Company Secretaries Amendment Bill 2021. Opposition MPs raise nationwide strike called by trade unions in the Rajya Sabha, urge central government to look into their demands and take remedial steps. And in 0 hour in Lok Sabha, issues from improved digital infrastructure in education to filling up vacancies in Indian Army and water shortage raised in the House. And Parliament on Tuesday approved the Budget 2022-23 with the Rajya Sabha returning the Appropriation Bill and the Finance Bill 2022 to the Lok Sabha after a detailed discussion. The two bills were approved by the Lok Sabha on Friday. Replying to the discussion in the Rajya Sabha, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman stressed that India has continued to remain in the top 5 FDI recipient countries.
The FDI inflow into India, sir, in FY21 was $81.72 billion, US dollars. In FY20, it was $74.39 billion. India has continued to remain in the top 5 FDI recipient countries, and this is a UNCTAD UNCTAD report. I'd like to say that in the 7 years and 9 months of Prime Minister Modi's government till December 2021, the FDI inflows into India has been $500.5 billion, and that is about 65% higher than the FDI inflows during the entire 10-year regime of the UPA. So if 10 years of UPA, which is normally touted as very good, we did this, we did that, we've controlled everything, we were incentivizing the growth of the economy, could draw only some amount which was 65% lesser than what we've drawn, in spite of the kind of comments which have been made against this government saying you don't know how to manage the economy. I think that reflects how honestly both the Indian investors and also investors from abroad have trusted the economic management of this government under Prime Minister Modi.
And the Finance Minister said each budget following the COVID-19 pandemic has focused on building health infrastructure. She highlighted that the war between Russia and Ukraine has affected all countries like the pandemic had.
Sir, the Union Cabinet on 22nd April 2020 itself approved significant investments in the health sector. 15,000 crores were allotted. The funds which were sanctioned were to be utilized in 3 phases and for immediate COVID emergency response mechanisms. Particularly for that, 7,774 crores were provisioned, and the rest for medium-term support, which is about 1 to 4 years programs which will be taken up, and all of them taken up in mission mode approach. So we have attended through from 2020 itself for funding emergency response mechanisms and infrastructure which is so required for that.
And members cutting across party lines took part in the discussion on the bills in the Rajya Sabha. While the BJP members highlighted government's achievements in different sectors, Shiv Sena and Aam Aadmi Party MPs raised the issue of inflation. Take a look.
इतना आलोचना, झूठी मोटी आलोचना देश की जनता जानती थी कि आलोचना झूठा कर रहे हैं, और ये चारों राज्यों के चुनाव हुए तो प्रचंड बहुमत के साथ भारतीय जनता पार्टी जीती। ये इसलिए जीती कि मोदी सरकार गरीबों के कल्याण के लिए, वंचितों के कल्याण के लिए इस बजट में पैसा भी रखे हैं, बजट एलोकेट भी कर रहे हैं और उनके सर्वोपरि रख करके हितों के काम कर रहे हैं।
मैं आपके माध्यम से वित्त मंत्री जी से कहना चाहूंगी कि आम आदमी आज जिस परिस्थिति से गुजर रहा है, वर्तमान परिस्थिति को वह जिस शब्द से जानता है और पुकारता है, वो एकमात्र शब्द है वो है महंगाई। वो अपने दर्द को जिस वाक्य में अभिव्यक्त करता है वह वाक्य है, मार दिया इस महंगाई ने।
Most of the inflation is imported because of the imports, oil prices, commodity prices. It's not because there is too much of money chasing too few goods. And therefore, I know the Monetary Policy Committee is meeting next month. There is a temptation to have a tighter monetary policy. Please do not do it. Even if your deficit, which was 6.9% this year, and projected to be 6.4%, even if it goes up a little bit, as Keynes said, put money in the hands of people so that people will have purchasing power. The physical deficit really does not really matter. It is still within the control.
And moving on, the opposition MPs on Tuesday raised issues related to the ongoing nationwide strike called by certain trade unions and urged the central government to look into their demands and take remedial steps. During the 0 hour, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu did not accept the notices by some opposition members to discuss the 12-point charter of trade unions who have called for the 2-day nationwide strike. However, Chairman Naidu permitted 3 members to briefly mention the matter related to the nationwide strike.
Then notice under Rule 267 by John Britas and also Vinay Viswam and Sri Sekhar Singh Goyal and also Dr. V. Sivadasan demand to discuss 12-point charter of demands raised by trade unions. This we are going to discuss labor and employment also in detail. Members can avail that opportunity and discuss these issues. I would like to, please, I will give an opportunity to you. I am coming to that. The impression is being created as if we are not allowing discussion. Question is, there are instruments, rules and regulations and procedures. There are issues that are already coming up in discussion. For example, price rise, petrol and diesel. This finance bill and appropriation bill. Detailed discussion is taking place. Many members spoke about it. Similarly, on labor and employment also, this strike and other issues can be raised. What are the demands and what is the solution, etc. But members can just mention the issue.
We would expect the House to deliberate upon the issues on which the country has gone to strike.
Right.
The lives and livelihoods of the people have been in great turmoil, and we expect the government to take steps, remedial steps to ensure that.
Sir, I believe that this great House has a responsibility to take note of the great strike of the working class. This House should believe that they are the wealth producers of the country. They work for the country. Their sweat is for the country, blood for the country. When they are on a strike, this House has a duty, a responsibility to discuss the matter.
Right.
I hope that the government, even if late, should find time to discuss those issues.
Right.
जो मजदूर है वो इस देश की रीढ़ की हड्डी है। आज वो 2 दिन के लिए नेशनल वाइड स्ट्राइक चल रहा है अगेंस्ट दी पॉलिसीज ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट। जो मेन उनकी डिमांड है सर, लेबर लॉज जो स्क्रैप किया गया है उनके ऊपर असर हो रहा है। जो पीएसयूज है उसका प्राइवेटाइजेशन के ऊपर लोगों को प्रॉब्लम है। जो एनएमपी है उसको लेके हैं, मनरेगा के वेजेस बढ़ाने के लिए हैं। तो ऐसे उनके अहम इश्यूज हैं। तो मैं धन्यवाद करता हूं कि आपने इस हाउस में इस मुद्दों को उठाने के लिए 267 नहीं पर हमारी बात रखने के लिए आपने मौका दिया। इसके लिए मैं आपका दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूं। ये मजदूरों के मेन इश्यूज के लिए सरकार भी इसका संज्ञान ले और पॉजिटिव अप्रोच रखे।
And the upper house on Tuesday took up all the listed 0-hour mentions. Chairman Naidu complimented the members and appreciated them for their cooperation. Meanwhile, DMK member Tiruchi Siva raised the issue of rising cases of child abuse registered under POCSO during 0 hour. Member V. Vijay Reddy voiced concern over the hike in prices of fertilizers and urged the government to raise fertilizer subsidy. Meanwhile, BJD member Sujit Kumar raised concern over regulatory issues related to the startups.
Sir, as observed by experts, many schools, often the child is not aware even that it's a sexual abuse, sir. Sir, out of the Indian schools, only 36% of the schools are aware of it, and 39% of the students are aware of that. And mostly the students or the children are scared to report it to their parents, but for most of the cases, the perpetrators are close relatives or who are known to them. So this is a very, very serious issue, sir. And sir, the absence of mechanism has to be addressed very seriously.
It is likely that fertilizer prices will see the same fate as petrol and LPG prices, which have gone up. Crude oil prices have gone up significantly. Another hike in fertilizer prices will further the agony of our farming community, sir. In the current year budget, which Honorable Finance Minister has presented, there was a 30% reduction in fertilizer subsidy from 1.4 lakh crores to 1.05 lakh crores, sir.
On an average, there are 10 regulatory or compliance changes every day. And our entrepreneurs are supposed to keep tab of all these changes on a daily basis, 10. Sir, we all know, sir, the consequences of criminal liability is humongous in our country, impacts a person's liberty and position in society. Sir, in criminal justice system, mens rea or criminal intent is paramount, sir. If a person has a guilty mind and commits an act with a guilty mind, then he or she should be punished. But oftentimes our entrepreneurs are facing jail and imprisonment even for minor lapses rather than willful action to cause harm or to defraud.
And now let's take a look at what happened in the Lok Sabha today. The Lok Sabha today discussed the Chartered Accountants, the Cost and Works Accountants and the Company Secretaries Amendment Bill 2021 for consideration and passing. The bill amends the Chartered Accountants Act of 1949, the Cost and Works Accountants Act of 1959 and the Company Secretaries Act of 1980. The bill also proposes to strengthen the disciplinary mechanism under these acts and provide for time-bound disposal of cases against members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, the Institute of Cost Accountants of India and the Institute of Company Secretaries of India.
Because of the economic and corporate climate change, we are introducing this bill. That is what given in this Amendment Act. I would like to know what is the economic and corporate climatic change that is forcing this government to bring this sort of bill.
देश में एक जो ये तीनों प्रोफेशन है, कंपनी सेक्रेटरी, कॉस्ट अकाउंटेंट, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, प्रतिष्ठित प्रोफेशन है और इनकी अपने देश में ही नहीं विश्व में भी प्रतिष्ठा है और आज विश्व के अंदर भी भारतीय चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हो, कॉस्ट अकाउंटेंट हो, कंपनी सेक्रेटरी हो, मान्यता प्राप्त है.
The present president of the Chartered Account Association Institute, they expressed their apprehension that government is having some hidden agenda. It is not fair on the part of the government. So for these reasons, disciplinary committee and coordination committee attempt that has been made with malicious intention to kill somebody, to kill some institute, even it may be politically motivated. That is a hidden agenda. I do sense it. Please, to that extent, you must have courage to withdraw the bill.
The bill aims at bringing discipline to the professions. But the disciplinary authority will be headed by a non-chartered accountant. And the disciplinary committee would have more non-CA members than CA members.
Increase of non-CA members in disciplinary committees. The provision that the ICAI shall recommend all names in the disciplinary committee is a good step. However, many people have expressed concern over the reconstitution of the disciplinary benches, whereby it now mandates the appointment of 2 CA and 3 non-CA members as part of the disciplinary committee.
Due to recognition issues, they are suffering very badly on this. Chairman sir, in clause H45, the 5th report of the standing committee on page 28 and 29 clearly states the change of nomenclature of cost and works accountants to cost and management accounts. In the standing committee report, it was stated as the Ministry of Corporate Affairs may consider suitable change to the nomenclature.
तीनों संस्थान में मुख्यतः चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट का महत्वपूर्ण रोल है. करप्शन को रोकना यह अहम भूमिका रहती है. यही अकाउंटेंट करते हैं. उसका रिपोर्ट तैयार करते हैं। अतः इन सभी तीनों संस्थानों की स्वायत्तता बरकरार रहे, यह मेरा पुनः आग्रह है।
In recent years, the role of some chartered accountants has also come under regulatory scanner. The move to reform the disciplinary mechanism of professionals is part of effort to improve corporate governance and the quality of preparation of reporting of key statutory documents.
This company which was at NCLT going for 1500 crores went for 400 crores. किसका नुकसान हुआ? 900 करोड़ का भारत सरकार का, इस गरीब आदमी का. IVRCL sir, another one, bigger company, 12,000 crores. What is the NCLT? 2,500 is the cost. You could have sold it for NCLT. Government said no, no NCLT.
The interest of the corporates is taken more consideration in this. Number two is, sir, government is taking a kind of extra interest on tightening the grip on autonomous bodies.
I would also flag the attention of this government and the concerned ministry that it is unclear how the conflict of interest between the disciplinary and administrative function will be addressed if the council continue to be involved in recommending who could be on such disciplinary entities.
And moving on now, the government has held a meeting with the state ministers and officials on the possibility of adopting a policy of one state, one sport, but no decision has been taken yet. Union Minister of State for Sports, Nishit Pramanik, informed the Lok Sabha during the question hour. Pramanik was responding to a question raised by BJP MP Hema Malini. In another question, YSRCP MP PB Reddy raised the issue of underutilization of funds under Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana.
My humble suggestion is to start implementing a program, one state, one sport, wherein each state identifies its major sports strength, like wrestling in Haryana, kabaddi in Maharashtra, and football in Bengal.
महोदय, इस वन स्टेट वन स्पोर्ट्स के ऊपर आदरणीय खेल मंत्री अनुराग ठाकुर जी ने अभी तक एक वर्चुअल मीटिंग कर चुका है हर एक स्टेट की खेल मंत्री के साथ और उनकी आधिकारिक के साथ, और उनके साथ ऐसा सलाह भी लिया गया है ऐसा करने से क्या हो सकता है और आप लोगों का प्रपोजल क्या है. तो महोदय, इस विषय पर उचित समय पर निर्णय लिया जाएगा.
Rupees 3,712 crores was allotted for RKVY under budgetary 21-22. Only 2,000 has been utilized for the revised estimation for 21-22. This means there is an underutilization of 46% for RKVY. Can the minister explain the reason for this and what steps are being addressed?
The fund is unspent because of many of the states are not formulated committees. There are 3-level committees, sir. एक जिला में एक कमिटी है, डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल एग्रीकल्चर प्लानिंग कमिटी, state level agriculture planning committee, and state level sanctioning committee under the leadership of chief secretary. Only 13 states are formulated DAP, sir, district agriculture planning committees, and only 11 states are formulated state level agriculture planning committees. And the second reason is, sir, many of the states which have taken money, they are not send utilization certificates to the center. That is also one of the reason. And third reason is due to the requirement of Department of Expenditure for compliance with the public financial management system and mapping of single nodal account by the state governments. Release the first installment to the state governments has been delayed in the year of 2021, sir.
And matters of urgent public importance were raised during Zero Hour in the Lok Sabha. Trinamool MP Sajda Ahmed called for improved digital infrastructure in the education sector. BJP MP Ramkripal Yadav called for filling up vacancies in the Indian Army. Congress MP Kodikanil Suresh raised the issue of water shortage in his constituency.
So the COVID pandemic has taught us an additional feature of the use of digital technology in the education system. To some extent, we have developed digital education where the household disparity to access to the digital world and the internet are still a huge challenge. The government has been proclaiming digital scheme for other sectors, but in the education sector, digital initiatives are being overlooked. Protecting and investing in digital infrastructure in education is vital for reducing income inequality and economic growth. Thus, to gain the benefits of the demographic dividend, proper investment in building digital infrastructure in the field of education are the need of the hour. I urge the government to build up the digital substructure, keeping in mind the future challenges in education, particularly in the rural areas. Thank you, sir.
The water scarcity is causing people to buy canned water at prohibitive rates, and the government flagship programs for delivery to tapped water under Jal Jeevan Mission is not yielding desired results. This scenario is causing a crisis, manifold consequences, and urgent intervention is required from the government to augment capacity of water sources and in devising comprehensive plan for recharge the regeneration of rivers and water sources to meet future shortages. Sir, in my parliamentary constituency also facing serious crisis, particularly in Kutanad, also very serious drinking water shortage.
कि रिक्तियां हैं और जरूरत भी है, देश की सेवा के लिए लोग चाहते हैं, तो बेरोजगारी दूर होती है इसके माध्यम से। तो बिहार जैसे प्रदेश में जो केवल निर्भरता नौकरी पर है और सेना का बहाली नहीं हो रहा है, तो बहुत कठिनाइयों का सामना करना पड़ रहा है सर। इसलिए आपके माध्यम से मैं सरकार से, माननीय रक्षा मंत्री से, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री से भी अनुरोध करूंगा कि यथाशीघ्र।
And MPs also raised issues under Rule 377. Take a look.
नागर विमानन मंत्रालय द्वारा श्रावस्ती एयरपोर्ट को चालू करने की घोषणा की गई थी, जिसका निर्माण का कार्य काफ़ी समय से धीमी गति से चल रहा है। सभापति महोदय, आपके माध्यम से सरकार से मांग है कि श्रावस्ती उत्तर प्रदेश में एयरपोर्ट का प्राथमिकता के आधार पर जल्द से जल्द निर्माण कार्य पूर्ण कराकर एयरपोर्ट को चालू कराया जाए।
Under Rule 377 is relating to the ESI benefits to the Life Insurance Corporation agents. Sir, we are having more than 13 lakhs of LIC agents in the country. Unfortunately, they are not having any welfare scheme or benefit out of the central government scheme. So I would like to make this submission on behalf of the LIC agents. So the LIC agents are the backbone of the LIC. But the Life Insurance Corporation is not ensuring the welfare of LIC agents.
Well, viewers, that's all we have for you in this edition. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to Sansad TV. Namaskar.